2023 was the biggest year One Piece had ever seen, and I mean this very literally. A successful live action, bigger events happening in the manga than ever before, the anime breaking every record it's ever held with the release of Gear 5, 2023 was the year of One Piece. And the fact that after 26 years of One Piece we were still getting better and better just truly shows how good this series is. But, as I do every year, which has only been 1 year so far, but trust this is going to become a tradition, welcome to the One Piece recap of 2023. Starting off with the manga because, well, that's where all the good shit happens. In 2023, we had a total of 31 chapters released, and One Piece has officially surpassed 1,100 chapters. This series spent our entire year in the arc that we all thought would be short, but has not been short so far, Egghead. Egghead has been one of, if not the best One Piece arcs ever. We're getting to see so many things happen all at once, and more endgame level characters are showing up in the series. The arc is only getting crazier and crazier, and the fact that it hasn't even reached its climax yet makes me so excited for 2024. We started off this year with Kuma doing Kuma shit. You know, the average rushing to the Grand Line, looking like Prince Harry coming out of the hospital, fighting powerful opponents, the classic Kuma bundle. But following the Kuma-ness, we got to see two world-changing events this year, Kid vs Shanks and Law vs Blackbeard. Law vs Blackbeard was a tense fight in which Law and Blackbeard both fought a hard battle, with Law eventually falling to Blackbeard, but thank the Lord Hody Jones pre-global warming aka Cocaine Bear was there to save the day. What did I just say? Honestly, Law vs Blackbeard really put in scale how scary the final stretch is going to be. Law is a top tier fighter, and to see him succumb to Blackbeard really puts in perspective how strong and scary this man is, and albeit he did have a lot of his crew members there with him, I don't really think they helped Blackbeard that much. Then again, I wouldn't know, because like everything that happens with Blackbeard, this fight was off screen. Moving on from off screen and Law, let's talk about Shanks vs Kid. Shanks won, Kid died. Fun fact, my summary there was about the same length of the entire battle. Nah, but for real, Kid and his entire crew got their asses absolutely destroyed by Shanks, and well, let's just take a moment to talk about him. Shanks had more appearances this year than all of his previous years combined. We got to see his Grand Fleet for the first time, and it put into perspective just how nice this man is, because well, his Grand Fleet was looking more like the retirement home down the street from my house than an actual crew. We also found out that he's been hunting down Blackbeard the entire time, and we got to see him fight, and I think, if anything, it truly solidified that he's the strongest character alive right now. From insane future sight, capable of seeing 10 seconds into the future, to having the attack of the Pirate King and one-shotting a 3 billion berry pirate commander, Shanks is fucking insane. Oh, and he's teamed up with the Giants of Elbaf just because, you know, he clearly wasn't strong enough already. He needed that extra boost. On the topic of insane fights, Garp. This year, Garp popped off on Blackbeard's island. He went in, a man on a mission, and absolutely shat on most of Blackbeard's commanders with the sole goal of freeing Koby, and that he did. In the end, Koby managed to get free and even showed us a bit of his power with the lamest titled move ever, Honesty Impact. But for real, this year Garp was an absolute menace, and he truly showed us why he's the hero of the Marines. And even way after his prime, he's still one of the strongest we've seen till date. Unfortunately for all Garp fans, he was eventually captured by Aokiji and Shiryu, but don't get me wrong, he was still beating these men's asses before he eventually succumbed to them. And then finally we saw the last panel of Garp laughing, and man did it hit hard, because we know we may not ever see him again, but in a way this panel was kind of the greatest farewell we could have ever given to this behemoth of a man. Oh yeah, and then after this we got to see the Cross Guild, and yeah guys, Buggy's doing fine. Perfectly fine. Moving on though, let's talk about another behemoth of a character, Imu. This year we got to see Imu use a weapon, and man was this weapon scary. The Mother Flame destroyed an entire island in 1 second, and the reason Imu destroyed it was because let's see. Yeah, it was close. Oh, and now there's a massive hole there, and the sea levels around the world rose, so just an average day in the world of One Piece. Imu is insane, and the true extent of how scary these 6 people are were shown this year through Saint J. Garcia, who became a fighter on Egghead. We finally got to see the Gorosei in action, and it's been more insane than anything we've seen so far in the series. I mean, this man looks straight out of a horror movie, and he knocked down Sanji, who's by no means a scrub, until compared against Zoro at least, without even touching him. Mr. Saturn can possibly be the strongest character we've seen so far, and honestly, as things are right now, it seems like the top 10 strongest characters may just be filled with the Gorosei. But speaking of the Gorosei, let's talk about the man who escaped from all of them, Sabo. This year we got so much lore, because this year we revisited the Reverie and got so much lore from it. We found out that the original queen of Alabasta, Nefertari Lily from the Void Century, was related to Imu in some way, and she's the reason we have Poneglyphs right now. We also found out that Vivi is a D, and that Alabasta as a whole has a large role to play in the rest of the story. On the other hand, Cobra does not anymore because he is dead. And then we have Sabo, who overheard all of this and then managed to escape from the 5 Gorosei and Imu, and honestly, with what we've seen so far, this may be the single most impressive feat displayed in the entirety of One Piece. other than the Doflamingo family putting up the treble for however long they did. Walpole also overheard the entire thing, and now he and Vivi are together on Big News Morgan's ship, and while Walpole usually isn't important, in the span of like one chapter, he became one of the most important characters in the show purely because he knows of Imu's existence. Moving on from Walpole though, let's talk about something interesting. Fighting. There were so many good fights this year. From Luffy finally getting his rematch against Kizaru and winning, sort of. I mean, I don't know, they both gassed out, but I do think Luffy takes the W, regardless. From that to Zoro versus Lucci beginning, fighting this year has been insane. Oh, and I know the summary is all over the place, but let's talk about the actual plot of Egghead and the Straw Hats, because somehow I forgot to talk about them until now. Shaka got a bullet put through him, and then we finally found out who the true traitor is, and man, this reveal is horrifying. We found out that York betrayed the Vegapunks because she was told that she could become a Celestial Dragon if she did. And while all of this is happening, the crew is busy fighting a ton of Seraphim, who are basically incredibly powerful miniature versions of the Warlord, and we also find out that they share some traits of the original Warlords they are based upon, such as young Boa simping for Luffy. We got the reveal of Stussy as a secret clone agent made by Vegapunk that had infiltrated CP9 for a bit, and we even got a brief CP9 x Straw Hats team up where they fought the Seraphim together. In the end, CP9 still betrayed them, but still, it was kind of fun while it lasted. I already touched on it a bit, but the entire sequence with Kizaru was so fun because it showed us just how strong he is, and even led to an extremely emotional moment with Kizaru versus Setomaru. Speaking of emotional though, let's talk about what has stolen the show for the past couple months. Kuma's backstory. I already have a video on the entirety of Kuma's backstory, but here's the summary. This man can't catch a break. Julie Urbani is 12 years old. Side note, she's not doing too well in the surviving aspect of this story right now, but yeah, we'll find out what happens with her later. Kuma's part of the extinct Buccaneer race that has some connection with Joy Boy and Nika and God Valley. Yes, that's right. For the first time, God Valley was teased to us, and man, are the Celestial Dragons messed up. We got to see the true extent of their cruelty as they were playing a hunting game where they wiped out the entire kingdom of God Valleys for shits and giggles. In a more positive note though, we got to see young Roger, young Garp, young Friggerland, and most importantly, the entirety of the Rocks crew minus the man himself. And man, this makes me so hyped for when the entire backstory is finally revealed. Continuing on though, Kuma manages to escape and then cue the sad shit because this woman, Kuma's wife basically, gets kidnapped by the Celestial Dragon while working for them and then gets assaulted and then gets sent out to die, and what the hell, One Piece was so dark this year. But on the topic of revolutionaries, we also got to see the beginning of the Revolutionary Army. This year, there was a lot of spotlight on them. Yet, Dragon still managed to do absolutely nothing. He didn't even speak. Like, everyone was waiting for 1100 to hit and to see what Dragon would do or say, and his only dialogue was 3 periods. Honestly, it's kind of impressive at this point. But overall, the manga this year has gone absolutely batshit crazy. We got to see Garp, Imu, Shanks, Blackbeard, the Gorosei, Sabo, and a ton of other characters who we barely got to see before, truly showing us that the end is near. Everything's moving at an incredibly fast pace, and as messed up and time jumping my recap was, it gives you the idea of how fast we are moving towards the end of the story. We are dashing towards the end, and man is it so hype. From insane Gear 5 moments to massive lore drops with this giant robot awakening, which I haven't touched on yet, but yeah, it did happen. We are in the end game of this manga. But outside of just the manga, One Piece has gone crazy this year. The live action was by far the most successful anime adaptation seen till date, and it was honestly a very enjoyable experience. The One Piece live action has officially resumed for season 2, and the entire world had its eyes on One Piece because of the massive hit that was the live action. It managed to break Wednesday's and Stranger Things record and became one of the best-selling shows on the entirety of Netflix, so yeah, extremely successful. The anime also popped off this year with cleaner animation sequences than ever before, and it truly blew everything out of the water with Gear 5. The week-to-week experience of the anime this year was insane, and honestly was one of the few times I think the anime did something better than the manga. Honestly, the animation was incredibly crisp, and massive props must be given to Toei and the team. And as of recent, like today at the time of recording, we also found out that the new remake of the One Piece anime is coming in with Wit Studio, so all in all, the anime and One Piece in general has exploded this year. While the recap of One Piece outside of the manga was pretty short, it's clear that One Piece is becoming bigger and bigger. The live action made it reach larger audiences, and the anime was just all around successful as hell. This year was the year of One Piece, and that is undeniable. It blew out the competition in 3 different mediums, and man was it so fun being a One Piece fan this year. Thank you all for everything, and I know I didn't post that much this year, but I will try to be more consistent later on. Overall though, that's it for me. This is probably my final long form video of 2023, so happy new year and happy holidays everyone. See you next year.